Welcome to Burr Cashflow Investors Group. And today it is Wednesday. So I know I'm not sure about you. We didn't do the live on Monday, but we certainly are doing it today. And we had a huge office party. So I hear that a lot of people got quite a bit drunk, and certainly had a great old time. So I'm not Joe. What about you, man?
I left early.
You left early?
I had concert tickets.
Oh, okay. All right, cool. Okay, got it. All right. So Joe says, "Happy wife, happy life." We are going to give him on his birthday a whip to go give it to his wife. So, but to each his own. But I know Miss Jennifer had a lot to drink, and I hear she threw up outside. So Jennifer, for sure, had a good old ball. This time, Lori, I don't think last time Lori was sitting on the floor. So I think everybody had a good time. But having said that, let's jump right into it. So the point of the group is that every single week, twice a week, we go through on Mondays, Wednesdays, some Q&A questions that people send in. And then on Fridays, generally, we have a real estate story, life story, something that relates to investing, so on and so forth. And so if you have any friends, family that would like to learn more about real estate, how to invest, how to get started, and they should be a part of the group. So invite them and help our community grow. Having said that, the first question that somebody asked was, well, how do I get a copy of the probate list, or how do I get basically, access to all these leads? So let's first understand where do these leads come from. So when we talk about off-market leads, right? So you can get off-market leads like, say, probates, pre-foreclosures, data about properties going to auction, data like absentee owners. All of this data pretty much comes from public records, right? And so what happens is there are different sources of public records that you can buy. You can go to a something like what's the website we use, Lori? Lori. I just thought of it. It's called PropStream, PROPSCREAM. And if you want a discount code for that, I will have Lori put it in. Actually, we'll put it in the Burr Cashflow Investors Group for PropStream. So you can go there, get a discount code. You can get 7-day free trial, and and then you can basically get that discount code through us. So we will put that. And the way all of these leads are put together is, so if anytime a probate case is filed, guess what will happen, right? The person goes to the county, files a probate code. So whether it's Cook County, DuPage County, Kane County, all that data you can get. Now, in some counties, they do not go collect the data, but for Chicago, that data is available. And every month, there are about 800 to 900 generally total probate cases that are filed. So you can get that data. And it's probably one of the cheapest places is if you go through PropStream, and we will give you the credentials for that, so that, you can basically use the link, go in, and you can get that data. I believe for 7 days or so is free as a promotion. Of course, they would love for you to subscribe. But that's kind of how it is. And this data is basically free, meaning they publish that data in a legal newspaper or in whatever the particular county is. Used to be in the regular paper, but nowadays nobody obviously gets the newspaper. So then you have to basically buy it. Now you can also buy this through aggregators, right? ListSource and some of those type of things. That way of going about it is very expensive. You should not do that because you're going to pay per lead, and it's going to get very, very expensive for you. So I would not suggest that you go through those kind of sources. You get that data through something like PropStream. And the beauty is that they'll give you the heirs, they'll give you all the information about that particular property, any heirs, any phone numbers they have. You can also do a reverse search from there so that you can scrape the web for any known homeowners and or relatives and or emails as well as phone numbers. And we have had tremendous success with doing mailings to be it pre-foreclosures, to be it probates, be it absentee lists. And if you're going to do that, please remember 6 touches. You need 6 touches for it to work. If you just basically do something once, it probably is not going to work, right? I'm just telling you straight out, it is not going to work. So 6 touches. So if you're going to do a mailing and you only have a small budget, right, say $200-$300, that's totally fine every month, but then you got to do it religiously every single month for 4, 5 months, 6 months to really see the results. To me, personally, this is just me, that is the best ROI for money spent when it comes to basically reaching out to sellers, finding off-market leads, is purely by doing mailings. I've done PPC, I've done billboards, I've done TV advertising, I've done a bunch of things, right? VAs doing phone calls, we've done all kinds of things. But I still think the good old-fashioned mail still works. It always has, and at least for the near future, it is going to continue to work. Now, there are other people that like to do phone calls. I know somebody that does basically looks up the reverse search numbers, right? And just calls them. And that works great for this particular person, right? So it depends on who you are, what technique you're going to use, but whatever you're going to do, you have to be consistent with it. So the next question was that as far as, then there were a couple questions regarding this, and the question is that how do I find a lender to do refinance nationwide, right? So, I mean, it's easy. Just go to National RE Funding. It's National, National, National RE Funding. It's that simple, right? NationalREFunding.com, and we will get you in touch with 3 or 4 big major lenders. Now, you can look it up. You can go on web, go hard money lenders, right? The problem is this, that there's a lot of, in fact, Gina had put this up, Gina Diaz from Diaz Case Law had put this up about fake hard money lenders that take money upfront money from you. Do not, absolutely do not. Any hard money lender or any sort of lender that says, oh, you know, we can get you the loan, but you have to pay $1,000, $2,000, $1,500, $3,000, right? That's absolutely a scam. Do not do it. So, you know, there's no reason for a lender. Now, the only thing they can do is they can have you buy, order an appraisal. But before you go with the lender, please make sure. And just because they have a website does not mean it is not a scam. The other day, Gina had posted somebody in Mastery that this particular lender was a complete scam. They have a website. It's very generic looking, but I can see how somebody who is new can get taken advantage of. And this person ended up, I think, paying them $3,000, $4,000 that, oh, we're going to give you a loan, but we have this fee. So that's absolutely 100% illegal, right? It is a crime for somebody to collect a fee from you in promise of giving you a loan like that. So please do not fall for that. And all you have to do is go to National RE Funding, and we'll put you in touch with 3 or 4 different lenders. This was done for the Mastery Group, where we have these lenders, and these are lenders that we use, right? So the bunch of the lenders, we're using these lenders personally, and we have them vetted. We make sure that they are who they say they are, and especially if you're working with National RE Funding, the person who manages all of these is Jesse. So Jesse will put you in touch with which lender makes the most sense for you. Some lenders are easier for refinances. Some lenders are better for new construction. Then there are other lenders that are better for fix and flips, right? So not all lenders are equal especially given today's terms and kind of what is going on in the market. So there, if you go there, fill out your information. You don't have to have any sort of credit pull done or anything. Just your name, email, phone number, and then where is your credit approximately? So is it 650, 700 approximately, right? That's all. Because what you don't want is you don't want 3 or 4 lenders pulling your credit. That is not something that you want. So that's why we're just collecting some basic information. Jesse will actually put you with the lender to make sure you can get funded before anybody should pull credit. And you probably have an idea of ballpark where your credit is, and that's good enough to get started. You don't need to pull credit to basically get the ball up and running. So hopefully that helps, and hopefully that makes some sense. The next question was that how do I find private money lenders? Now, this is an interesting question because I didn't even know when I started what a private money lender was, right? I thought that, well, I didn't know where to get loans. And I thought you basically go to friends, family, other acquaintances. I didn't know there was such a thing called private money lenders, or that's what a private money lender is. So now, if you go to any of the RIA meetings we do, right, you'll meet a lot of people that do private money lending. You go to the 3-day, you'll meet, literally 50, 60, 70 private money lenders in the room, right, that are doing that. Bunch of them will have on stage. They'll talk about the deals that they fund, how they fund it, what is the criteria, how much money they will put out at a time, right? To talk about a private money lender, just 2 days ago, Dr. Ali was here in the office. He did his 100th loan, right? 100th loan in Mastery in 4 years as a private money lender. So, it's super exciting to see that he has done that many transactions successfully as a private money lender. It's really, really exciting. So generally, private money lenders, who are they? Private money lenders are everyday people. It may be your mom, it may be your friend, it may be your cousin, aunt, uncle, anybody, or it may be friends, right? Within Mastery, we have hundreds of private money lenders. At Chicago RIA here, we have hundreds of private money lenders. These are everyday people that have some money that is put aside, whether it's in their 401k, which they basically self-direct and do funding out of that. There are individuals who have savings, and these are just everyday people that have extra money that they can get an extraordinary return lending it to people for real estate, lending it to people like you and I for real estate. For me, early on, right, I used to do a lot of JV deals because joint venture deals, because I didn't know about private money lending. And I had some people that, as I started doing more and more transactions, they would come and they're like, hey, we'll put up the money if you want to do the work. And I was like, well, I'm happy to do the work, right? And I used to literally give them 50% of all the profits, right? Many, many, many times, like you'd be shocked, right? First 128 transactions that I did, right? I was this silly. 128 transactions. Every single one, I gave away 50% of my profit, either on a JV deal or somebody who had privately funded my deal. And because that's what I thought you had to do, right? I did not know any better. Then I went down to 60-40, I would keep 60%. Then I went down to 70-30. Then I went down to 80-20, right? And today, I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to give away my profits. I'll just basically borrow the money from private money. And I'll never forget this. I was speaking, right? I had this 20 chairs. I used to do this radio show on it was called WIND, AM 560 WIND, and then it became The Answer, right? The big news station. And I was like, hey guys, if you like listening to the show, I'm going to be doing this kind of a 1-day talk on real estate investing, and everybody can show up, blah, blah, right? And I'll never forget, I had 20 chairs in the room, and 2.5 people, 2 adults and 1 kid showed up, literally. And one was Miss Mary, and the other person was Miss Rosa. And Miss Rosa came with her granddaughter, and it was Miss Mary DeSluver, who happens to be an attorney by profession. And I was like so disappointed. I was like, oh my God, I thought 20, 30 people would show up, and here's the 2 people. But literally at the end of the day, Right? And I was talking about what I was doing. I wasn't trying to raise money. I wasn't doing anything. I was just talking about how I was doing flips and how I was buying rental properties. That's it, right? And Miss Mary gets up, and you've heard a lot of you guys who have been to the 3-day heard me tell this story in front of Miss Mary, that she hands me a business card. She's like, I'm an attorney and I'm willing to lend you $1 million, right? I heard she's willing to give me $1 million. She says, no, lend you $1 million, right? And I literally thought this woman was crazy. I thought she was out of her mind, because who says that? I mean, this is like a movie moment. And I'm like, I ignored it. I'm like, whatever, right? Because I'm like, you don't know me from Adam. And yet, come to find out, she calls me. This was on a Saturday. She calls me on a Monday. She's like, did you forget? I'm like, no, Miss Mary, I'll let you know. I didn't know if this was even real, right? And then she shows up on a Tuesday or Wednesday at the office in Roselle, at the time Remax. And she's like, I was being serious about it. I'm willing to lend you money on your deals. And at the time, I was doing 3-4 deals at a time, right? So it wasn't like I had, a bunch of deals going. And I was like, I promise you, I will do deals with you. I just don't have a deal right now, because I thought, oh my God, I can't do more than 3 deals at a time. So, but ended up, she was the first private money lender, somebody known as a private money lender, right? Because I didn't know there was such a term. I just thought you did JVs with people. And that for the first time, she gave me a loan, 1% a month. And I used to borrow that money from her for years. But literally, that's how the whole private money lending started for me. And then I realized there's so many people. I mean, today we have people that come to Mastery, right? You'll see them at the 3-day. If you haven't registered for 3-day, make sure you do. It's 17th, 18th, and 19th. And yesterday, we had, I believe, 16 tickets left for VIP. So VIP tickets go they're the first tickets to go. And those tickets are pretty much gone. I think there were 150 slots, and then we opened up 20 more, I believe, something like that. But those are pretty much gone. So make sure you register at andrewholmesevents.com if you have not already. Otherwise, we'll have about close to 600 people at that event on November 17th, 18th, and 19th. So barely, we are about 20 days out and counting. So make sure that you do register. But you'll see that at the 3-day. And how do you find a private money lender? Now, initially, when I started doing deals with people, I was scared, and I didn't have the confidence to say to somebody, hey, will you lend me, $200,000? I mean, forget about $200,000. At that time, I'd have been happy if somebody would lend me $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 to do my first couple deals, because number one, I didn't have confidence in myself. Number two, I wanted to make sure I never lost anybody else's money. That was really, really, really important to me, because I'm like, oh my God, what am I going to say? What am I going to do? Right? And so the way I would do that is I would talk about what I was passionate about, which is I was a real estate agent, but I was passionate about investing, building a future, blah, blah, blah. And by talking about what you want to do, right? If somebody's like a football nut, what do? They talk about football. Right? If you're a real estate person, or if you want to become a real estate person, what do you do to people around you? Well, you talk about what properties you're looking at. What are you doing? Are you going to any seminars? Are you going to any events? Right? That sort of thing. Because what it does is people around you who you least suspect, they're like, oh yeah, I've always wanted to do that also. And I had a sneaky way of how I could get people to invest with me. What I would do is I'm like, hey, I'm going and looking at this foreclosure property, because I couldn't flat out come out and ask them, hey, would you borrow me $100,000? They're like, what if they laugh at me? What if they say no, right? My little, low self-esteem is going to get hurt. This is where I was at the time. Like today, it wouldn't bother me. I mean, like so many times I've called, Miss Mary, and she's like, Andrew, you think about it last minute. I'm like, Miss Mary, I was running out of money today because I bought too many properties, right? Hey, you have 300,000, send it over, right? Why? Because now, obviously, I have the confidence. I know where I can get the money. At the time, it was a big deal. And what I used to do was I would take people with me to go look at properties. And people who were skeptical, number one, they would never even go, Andrew, that doesn't work. That's not real. My uncle tried it, right? That sort of thing. But people who are enthusiastic business people that have always wanted to do something, those people, yeah, man, let me know when you go out and look at these properties. I'll come. And they would come and they would get excited. They're like, yeah, maybe I see possibilities here. I have 100,000. I'll pitch it in. Right. And I didn't even have to ask for money. What would happen is people would get excited as a part of me making them a part of going and taking a look at these properties. And all my initial investors, if you want to call it that, were people like that. These were people that, I played tennis with. These are people that I did. It would come up, oh, what do you do? I'm like, well, I do real estate investing, blah, blah, blah. I was a real estate agent before that. And then people are like curious, and they would start asking questions. And the more passionate I was, the more I still didn't have like the confidence of saying, hey, a lot of people invest with me. And if you are interested, let me know, right? I wish I was that bold, and I wish I had my kind of ducks in a row where I could do that. But I just did not have that confidence to be able to do that. So I was kind of a little gun shy as to how I would present it. Today, I realized was totally silly, but that's kind of what it is. And today more than ever, there are more people that want to invest. They want to invest in crypto. They want to invest stock market. Real estate is one of those things, because today everybody, a lot of people want to become entrepreneurs. They want to do something on the side besides their job. And a lot of times it's just a matter of having conversation about either what you're already doing or what you're going to do. And you can just simply say, hey, I partner up with other people that would like to do the same thing, and I can give you a pretty decent return compared to what you may get in the stock market or in doing crypto, right, where you may lose a lot of your money. And the best part is it's backed with the house, right? So that's what it is. So a lot of times people are like, well, where do I go to find private money lenders? Well, you go where people are already investing, which is show up at the Chicago REIA meetings, show up at any of our meetings. Make sure you're there at the 3-day, because you'll meet literally, when I tell you, hundreds of people that are just doing private money lending for people like you and for people like me. Next question was, so this is a property that is going to auction, and this property is going to auction in about 12 days. The owner has been in foreclosure for about 6 years. Think about that. 6 years they've been in foreclosure, right? Finally, the property is going to auction. So this person is asking that, hey, what do I do? How do I buy this property? So let's just look at it. So 6 years, they have not made a single payment on the property. So the balance owed on this property before all the interest rate and everything is $97,000. That's it. This particular property today, all fixed up, is probably worth about $350,000, right? About that. The problem is this: they haven't made a single payment for 6 years, right? So even if their payment was, let's say, $1,000 a month, 1,000 times 12 times 6, right? Plus all the penalties, all the fees, the attorney fees, this and that, it's going to add up to a lot of money, right? So in this particular case, the situation is this: even though there's only a $97,000 loan on it, right? The property is worth about $350,000. The problem is this, right? This person's like, well, can I take the property subject to? Can I do a subject to deal? Meaning, subject to the existing mortgage, can I take the property? I'm like, listen, the property's been in pre-foreclosure for 6 years. 6 years, right? And now the bank is not willing to basically just let you take over the property and work out a deal with them. Why? Right? Because number one, you'd have to take the property subject to the existing mortgage. So existing mortgage about $97,000. But the problem is this: in this case, you have to bring in excess of $120,000 to the table, right? You'd have to bring that kind of money to the table to really do this deal. So it doesn't make sense for you to do a subject to transaction. You do a subject to transaction whenever you can take a low interest payment over, and you don't have to come up with that much money out of pocket. Here, if you did that transaction, you're going to end up paying about $115,000 out of pocket, plus you have the existing mortgage that you would have to take subject to, right? Now, because they're basically they're caught up, the bank may be willing to postpone the auction, but it's after 6 years. So number one, and then not only are you buying it for 215, after that, you're going to have to fix the property. And from my estimates, from pictures that I saw, there's at least $70,000 to $80,000 that is needed minimum to do the deal. So I told this person, I don't think it's a good deal for you. You should not be buying this particular property. Now, the person that I told this to did not like my answer. They're like, well, but they're part of some group, and the person over there is like, oh, no, you should do the deal. I'm like, okay, great, go ahead. You asked my opinion. I'm just telling you it's a bad deal for you to do. So if you can get somebody else, a third party, to put up the $115,000, and if they feel you have enough margin, then go right ahead. Let me know. Let me know how the results work out. I will promise you, you're not going to make any money on the property. And the reason behind that is this, that 97 is owed plus another 115 to catch up. So you're almost in the deal for 215. Then you need another $80,000 to fix the property. Now you're in the property bare minimum cost, right? At 300,000. The property's worth maybe 350, 360. So by the time you consider the sales expense, by the time you consider the interest that you're going to have to pay on the property, there is maybe 10, 15,000, right? At the most, you're going to make $20,000 on this property, at the most. And I don't see it. I just don't see the margin on here on this particular deal. So I don't think this person should buy this particular property. But then again, it's their choice, right? If you're certainly in mastery, I would try to talk you out of it 100%. But we'll see what this particular person does. But they're asking me, can I do a subject to? Can you do it? Yes. Should you do it? Absolutely not, because there's not a whole lot of equity in the property after you get done with it. And even after you do the work and the fix-up, there's just not a lot of margin. It's a very thin margin deal. Absolutely should not be done. Now, the second property that we're going to discuss is, this is a property that is going to auction. It's going to auction in about 10 days from now. And at the time of auction, we don't know yet what price it's going to open at the auction. But on this particular property, the mortgage balance as of today, right, if they had to pay off the mortgage balance, is $119,000, $119,000. Now, the property legitimately in today's market is worth $315,000. And so in this particular case, my point to the person was, they're like, well, can we do a subject to, right? And I'm like, well, why would you want to do a subject to? It doesn't make any sense you want to do a subject to on this property. Like, but Andrew, the property has a really low mortgage rate on it. I'm like, I understand it has a really low mortgage rate on it. But the problem is this, that to fix up the property, you're going to need another $40,000, $50,000. Plus, you're going to have to catch up the payments to stop it from going at the auction. And I'm like, that makes no sense. Now you're going to tie up $50,000, $60,000, $70,000 cash out of pocket on the property. And why are you going to take the property subject to if you're going to have to put out that much money out of pocket, right? They're like, well, but I can partner with somebody and come up with the down payment. They can come up with the $50,000, $60,000, and then we go in together. I'm like, hey, listen, this makes no sense for you to do this deal this way. The way to do this deal would be is this, that go to private money, go somebody that has private money, or put a hard money loan on it, just buy the property out and then fix it up and do a fix and flip. You'll make, guaranteed on this particular property, because the numbers are good on this property, this person would make $80,000, $90,000. No questions asked, as long as you just don't screw it up. So it doesn't make sense. A lot of times what happens is this. People will learn a technique in real estate, and then they try to take everything and force it down with that technique. Well, it doesn't make sense in this case to basically take the property as a subject to, because guess what? The numbers are way too good. It makes more sense to borrow the money, private money, from Mastery. Now, this person happens to be in Mastery, so they can borrow all the money. Because if in Mastery they ask, hey, will you let us do a subject to? Sure. But then we're not going to let the Mastery person to put a second on it. It's not going to work, because we will not allow that. right? In this particular case, instead of doing a subject to transaction, what makes sense is either you use your own money. If you don't have your own money, use private money. Or if you don't want to do that or don't have that, then do a hard money loan, do a JV with somebody. The other person, you can just do say a 70-30 split. You get 70% of the profits, they get 30% profit for putting up a little bit of money to be able to buy the property. So you can basically buy this particular property with about $15,000, $20,000 out of pocket, right? So why not just JV with somebody, borrow that money, do the deal, flip the property, and split the profits? They will be happy. You will be really happy. And imagine for them to do a 70-30 split, you make $100,000 on the deal. This property 100% will make 90 to 100,000 as long as somebody just doesn't do something silly with it, because the numbers are really good. And for putting up $15,000-$20,000, they can get $15,000 or $20,000 in profit, net profit. So they're doubling their money literally in a matter of 5-6 months. If you buy it now, you have November, December, January, and by February, you can put the property on the market and get good top dollar for that particular property. So just because you have one technique that you know about doesn't mean every single time you're going to shove the property into that particular technique. You have to really look at it and say, is this the best strategy for this particular property in this particular period of time? So hopefully that makes some sense. This is Andrew. Again, make sure that you register at Andrew Homes Events. That's Andrew Homes Events for the 3-day that is coming up on the 17th, 18th, and the 19th. Super excited, super thrilled, guys, especially if you're going to go VIP. Immediately register. If you're bringing a spouse, immediately let us know, because on the VIP tickets, there were 20 left yesterday. I think today there are obviously already less, 8 to 10 tickets, whatever is left. Once that is gone, then the only thing you can do is attend it as a regular attendee. So having said that, thanks a bunch, and we will talk to you on Friday.